Okay, viewers, brace yourself. They're going to bung on another pandemic, apparently. Nipah, Nipah virus outbreak has been confirmed in India with 5+ cases and cure is currently not available. Fatality rate is 70%. Shift T20WC immediately players are having safety concerns due to poor management. If you see this tweet, reply. India contains Nipah virus outbreak in West Bengal after 2 cases. India reported just 2 Nipah cases since late December 2025, both among hospital staff. Officials isolated them and found all contacts. 21 minutes ago. Where is Nipah virus found? Human outbreaks of Nipah virus have only been identified in South and Southeast Asia, primarily in rural or semi-rural locations. Countries with previously reported outbreaks include Bangladesh, where cases have occurred almost annually since 2001. India, including outbreaks in Kerala in southern India since 2018. And current outbreak in West Bengal, Malaysia, the Philippines and Singapore. While antidotes against Nipah virus have been detected in bat species across Asia, Ghana and Madagascar, human outbreaks have not occurred outside the South and Southeast Asian region. And you can find details on the latest news on Nipah virus outbreaks on the Travel Health Pro website. This says on the 26th of January, Nipah virus can spread from animals to humans and human to human. Early reporting and isolation saves lives. No vaccine yet. Watch for fever, breathing difficulty, confusion. This is preparedness, not panic. Stay alert. 18 hours ago, there's a photo. Nipah virus outbreak. Shut New Zealand's borders to India. Nipah virus cases increased to 5 in Bengal, India. 2 nurses, 1 doctor among the critical, 100 isolated. Nipah is an extremely contagious and nasty zoonotic virus that causes rapid pneumonia and encephalitis with a mortality rate of 50%. Fruit bats are the reservoir, pigs and humans the hosts. Nipah virus, that's lethal 60% of the time. That's spreads through human feces and is rampant throughout India. Right, there you go. Okay, are you ready for the clincher? Nipah virus was also found in Wuhan Institute of Virology. We're going to watch this, viewers. Just bear with me for a minute. Josh Hawley.
Start with you. You said in your written testimony that the genome of COVID has some of the hallmarks of gain-of-function research, and in particular, 3 genomic regions you say have the signature of synthetic biology. 1 region has features of the 2 types of forbidden gain-of-function research that are associated with bioweapons development. And you said in your opening remarks that you believe COVID-19 was the product of gain-of-function research and was from a lab leak from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. My question, I guess, is, do you think that China engaged in a cover-up to prevent the world from knowing the true origins of this virus and a lab leak?
I think there's abundant evidence that they have not shared all the information they had at the time. They continue to not share information. I could give you a laundry list of 20 things that they've done, starting with a website with 21,000 viruses on September 12th. 2 a.m., someone was in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. That had been available to virologists for a decade. It was taken offline. It's not been returned. We've asked to see it. No one that I know of has ever seen it. It goes on from there.
Are you concerned with the continuation and expansion of Chinese gain-of-function research?
Well, I think I testified here that in December 2019, they were doing synthetic biology on a cloning vector of the Nipah virus, which is 60% lethal.
Okay, they were doing a cloning. Let's just hear that again.
Nipah virus, which is 619. They were doing synthetic biology on a cloning vector of the Nipah virus, which is 60% lethal. We just experienced a 1% lethal virus.
Okay, so COVID-19 is 1% lethal. Nipah virus is 60% lethal, and they were playing with it in the Wuhan lab. There you go. We don't need... Oh, well, let's see.
My estimates would be that could set us back a millennium. The Black Plague was a 20% lethal event, and it was 250 years for civilization to return.
Let me ask you this. How safe were the testing conditions at Wuhan, to your knowledge?
Well, I think that a lot of the Western virologists actually used the findings of that as a way to get around saying it was okay at the beginning.
So if the Nipah virus cuts loose, the Black Plague put the world back 250 years. The Nipah virus, if it goes pandemic, will put the world behind 1,000 years. It'll take 1,000 years for the world to recover from it. Wow.
What we have to remember is this Nipah virus, these outbreaks occur every single year in Bangladesh and India. And so it's not a new thing. You know, it's happened for the past 30 years. And so when we see these media reports, they kind of make it seem like it hasn't. And, you know, it's just kind of happening, you know, as a brand new thing. So that's not true. So I'm not very concerned simply because, I mean, there was only, I think, 3 cases, suspected cases are confirmed. And, you know, that's about it. It's probably going to be very self-limited. I would only be concerned if we started to see, you know, thousands and thousands of cases and cross-national spread. And if that's the case, I would suspect gain-of-function modifications in biolaboratories.
Okay, so they're trying to cause a psychological alarm, but let's just see.
Thailand is among several Asian nations that have stepped up airport health screenings after India reported 2 cases of the deadly Nipah virus. But what is Nipah, and how concerned should people be? Nipah is a rare viral infection that comes mainly from fruit bats. It was first identified in Malaysia in the late 90s. Here's Paul Hunter, professor in medicine at Norwich Medical School in Britain.
Most transmission events are because of a contact either with an infected animal or with something that has been contaminated by fruit bats.
It can also spread from person to person, typically after close contact between the sick and their caregivers, though experts say that does not happen easily. Nipah can cause severe illness and can be deadly.
The death rate varies from outbreak to outbreak, but is of the order of about 45 to 75% mortality rate.
Though Hunter points out that is based on identified infections. He says some people get no symptoms at all and may not be identified as infected. This means Nipah's actual death rate is likely to be lower. One concern is that the infection has an incubation period of 1 to 2 weeks.
And what this means is that it's actually very difficult to control at airports. You've got a disease that's got 2 weeks incubation period. For the first 2 weeks after somebody's carrying the infection, there's no way you can pick it up.
So that means it can spread covertly. If it's got a 2-week incubation period, that means somebody could be spreading it for 2 weeks and not show any signs of having it, and then all of a sudden have it, but they've had 2 weeks worth of spread.
For those who do get symptoms, Hunter says the early signs can be non-specific, like fever and headaches. In severe cases, Nipah can cause encephalitis, which is inflammation of the brain.
You have a high fever, you have very severe headaches, and you can have photophobia where the light hurts your eyes, and that is often associated with cases that ultimately die.
Reuters global health correspondent Jennifer Rigby says there is no need to worry too much.
there's been outbreaks almost every year in Bangladesh, small outbreaks because it doesn't spread easily from person to person.
She says the WHO sees it as a priority pathogen, but the virus has not yet shown signs of becoming more transmissible among humans or spreading easily worldwide. Rigby also says a prevention may be on its way.
There is a number of groups working on a vaccine, notably the Oxford University scientists who developed one of the COVID vaccines. They have a Nipah virus vaccine, and that's actually started human trials in Bangladesh just last year.
In the meantime, experts say those in high-risk areas should be careful. Peel fruit before eating and don't drink raw juice, as it hasn't been pasteurized to kill viruses.
So there is a Nipah virus alert, but that's not to farm panic. What triggered the alert? India confirmed 2 Nipah cases in West Bengal, Kolkata area. Reporting says they were healthcare workers, and authorities traced 196 contacts, all of whom tested negative at last update. That's Reuters. Because Nipah has a high case fatality rate and no approved vaccine, but they are working on it and almost do have it apparently. Multiple countries in Asia started airport border screening, temperature checks, health declarations and travel history. Pakistan is the latest reported country to introduce enhanced checks at entry points, per Reuters 29th of January 2026. Nipah, what Nipah is and why people freak out. Nipah is a zoonotic virus, animal to human, linked mainly to fruit bats or flying foxes. It can also spread human to human, usually through close contact with bodily fluids. Reported fatality is often cited around 40 to 75%, varies by outbreak and care. Symptoms: incubation, commonly 4 to 21 days. Early symptoms: fever, headache, muscle aches, vomiting, sore throat, cough, respiratory symptoms, and if it gets really bad, eyesight problems as well. And that's at a critical stage. Severe disease can progress to encephalitis, that's brain inflammation, seizures and coma. Some survivors can have long-term neurological effects. How it spreads: main routes described by public health agencies: bat to human, contaminated fruit products in some regions, raw date palm sap contaminated by bats is a known route. That's from the National Centre for Disease Control. Animal intermediates: pigs were key in the original Malaysia outbreak. Other animals can be infected. Human to human, close contact with secretions, tissues, often in caregiving healthcare settings. What the alert measures look like. Countries are doing a familiar COVID-like playbook: thermal screening, that's temperature checks, health declarations plus travel history, often up to 21 days, isolation, referral of symptomatic arrivals. Examples across reporting include Singapore, Hong Kong, Thailand, Malaysia and others. Pakistan uttered similar checks on January 29. Treatment and vaccine status: no approved vaccine and no specific curative treatment. Care is mainly supportive, respiratory support, managing complications. Some guidance documents and reporting mention antivirals being used experimentally in outbreaks, but it's not the same thing as if or equal to a cure. Practical advice if you're traveling or concerned: if you're in or returning from affected areas or anywhere Nipah has occurred historically, avoid raw date palm sap, unprocessed juices in outbreak regions. Wash and peel fruit. Avoid fruit that looks bat bitten or has been on the ground. Avoid close contact with sick people. Practice strong hand hygiene. If you develop fever plus headache, confusion, breathing trouble, especially within 21 days of travel or exposure, seek urgent medical care and tell them about travel contact history. What's the actual risk right now? Based on current official style reporting, Low for most people, higher for close contacts and healthcare settings, which is exactly why the response is so focused on screening and contact tracing. India's traced contact results, 196 negative, is a reassuring signal, assuming no cases have emerged. India's NCDC put out a January 2026 CD alert, PDF with background stats and transmission news. I attempted to pull page screenshots required for PDFs here, but the screenshot tool errored. The text extract is still readable and cited. Symptoms: swelling of the brain, headache, sore throat, respiratory problems, vomiting, headache, fever, drowsiness, confusion, and seizures.
Is Nipah virus the next pandemic? Already there are lockdowns in India, but before you think, okay, well, that's in Asia, I don't have to worry just yet. Well, take a look at this. The NIH, that's Fauci's agency, has been testing an mRNA vaccine for Nipah virus since last year. And do you notice here, take a look at this screen, where this mRNA Nipah virus vaccine is being tested?
Bethesda, Maryland, if you're driving and listening to us on the audio version of it.
Well, that's not in Asia. We've been told that there have been breakouts in Malaysia, in India, in other places in Asia. Why, then, would there be vaccine research in Maryland? So don't feel too safe about this. This bad virus, again, has only been observed in Asia, but it's being worked on in a lab in Maryland. So where did they get the material to sample to make a vaccine? Aren't you curious about that? I'm kind of curious about that. We're going to go over that in a minute, what we know about this vaccine, but first to the outbreak. We're being told now people are in masks. We're watching businesses shut down, lockdowns, mass testing, and contact tracing, all the things. So watch the media report about this and how serious they are taking it.
Authorities in southern India are rushing to manage an outbreak of the deadly Nipah virus. 2 people have died. Hundreds are being tested as potential contacts. Salima Shivji is in Mumbai with
196 were tested and all tested negative.
the details.
Officials are on alert and taking precautions in the southern Indian state of Kerala because of this Nipah virus outbreak, particularly in the Kozhikode district. Some schools are closed, banks as well as government offices. Shops are shuttered and the streets are a bit empty. People are a little nervous, and not just because of the loss to business, says this shopkeeper. After COVID, now we have this new virus and everything is shut again, he says. The Nipah virus spread through contact with fluids of infected bats, pigs, or people is rare, but has had previous outbreaks do paint a scary picture. During the first one 5 years ago, 21 out of 23 infected people died because of the Nipah virus. Now, authorities say that in this case, they are taking every precaution possible. Kerala's health minister says all of the close contacts of those infected are being tracked and they are in isolation. At least 700 people have been confirmed and identified as people who have had some sort of contact with either the victims or those who are infected, and they are being tested for this virus. Police are monitoring vehicles at checkpoints, and the state has set up containment zones in the district where the infections are clustered. The federal government is also rushing in help, sending in experts to help with monitoring the spread of the virus as well as with contact tracing, while infectious disease specialists are working to study the strain of this virus known to be so deadly, with the state on high alert. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Mumbai.
Okay, so let's get to this death rate.
Just let me remind you, the Black Plague took 250 years to recover from. One expert says if this goes pandemic, which it probably won't, it'll take a millennium to repair from.
In just a minute, I just want to go over briefly that Nipah is a zoonotic virus, meaning it comes from animals. It was first discovered in the late 90s from pigs. Symptoms include fever, headache, signs of respiratory illness that can lead to brain swelling, seizures, or coma. Now, what she said here is that it has a death rate of 40 to 75%. That is a big range, 40 to 75%. And she credits health agencies with those numbers. I was not able to find out which health agencies have actually calculated that number. I saw this number cited on the CDC, the WHO, and the NIH. They all use that number without attribution or citation of a study. So I'm not sure how they come up with that. But of course, that sounds like a really terrifying number, especially given that now the death rate for COVID is so low that we're like, well, we went through COVID and we're here. So I can't verify that, but they're going to yell it at you 40 to 70%, 40 to 75%. Now, again, let's look at this mRNA vaccine that the National Institute of Health began last year. They started this in 2022 before Dr. Fauci retired. So this is a Fauci-approved study. We're going to assume he was paying attention to greenlighting vaccine trials, right? And not too busy going on national media. The trial began last year, and according to clinicaltrials.gov, was completed. The last update was just last week, September 13th. The test was done on 40 people, so they're trialing this vaccine on 40 people. That's not a big sample. And they were only testing different doses, all in 2-dose vaccines. So one shot, a few weeks later, another shot, right? I guess that's the way we're doing it now, this 2-shot vaccine.
Just let me ask, if they're testing 40 people, does that mean they've given 40 people the virus? Because that can cause a terrible problem, complication.
Because they just went straight to, we're going to give them 2 shots of this amount, and then another group 2 shots of this amount, then another group of 2 shots of this amount. No results have been posted yet, but when we hear about this vaccine, let's keep in mind that this is what they told us, the NIH. Take a look. They are not testing to see if it prevents transmission of Nipah virus, nor are they testing to see if it prevents severe infection of Nipah virus, hospitalization, or death. See here, they are only evaluating the safety and tolerability. And also secondary, look, that's their secondary goal. The primary outcome is just to see, do people get hurt from this vaccine? The secondary outcome is, do they then develop an antibody response? Now, we don't know if antibody response means that they will do better if and when exposed to Nipah. We do know from this trial, they are not testing transmission.
Joshua Raymond, $10 super chat says, so where's the Indian reporter's mask? It's great dinner theater.
Yeah, I don't know.
But how do we know that this virus exists? I saw someone in the chat saying, sad that they believe that this virus exists. It's a great point. Like, who's doing the verification of this? Who's doing the verification?
Okay, but we're making decisions, like we collectively, let's pretend we're all in a dinner group and we have to say, this is what we know about it. Let's assume that it's real and then look at the data in front of us. So let's pretend, right, that, I don't know. I have not observed it. I'm going to knock on wood. But what I do know is that the NIH, which was involved in the development of the COVID vaccine and hid a lot of information in the development of that vaccine and allowed the media to tell us that that vaccine prevented transmission, is now testing another vaccine, and they are not testing transmission. So I do not want to hear that this may prevent the transmission of Nipah virus or protect you from it when they're only testing whether or not people don't get hurt by the vaccine and if they get antibodies. And we don't know that antibodies will actually lessen the severity of Nipah virus. So we need to keep that in mind. Okay. Now, one more thing about the Nipah virus clinical trial is that it has only been observed in Asia, the actual virus in the wild. Why would it be tested in the US? This release here says that they used a prototype pathogen. That means they have representatives from viral families with pandemic potential.
That's what I said before. Like, who's been given the virus so that they can test it? Danger.
Where did they get that?
Fort Detrick, maybe?
Did they make it? Is it safe? Is it a spin-off of Nipah virus? Wouldn't you want to know this? NIH is taxpayer funded, so these are really taxpayer funded. So these are really important questions. Like, hey, where'd that come from?
Hey, where'd that COVID come from?
In there?
Where'd that COVID come? Oh, it's just something. It was from the Spanish flu from early 1900s, and you guys decided to take that out of cold storage and to start playing with it again. Where did this come from? Is this some sort of a leak? You guys are playing with this at Fort Detrick like the other stuff, bringing it out? Why is it in Bethesda, Maryland? It's a great question.
How did it get there, right? And
shouldn't we call these people before Congress and ask them, how the hell is this here?
Yeah.
It's apparently killing people in India, and why is it in the United States? How did it get here?
It's just a very strange word, right? Prototype pathogens. Philip, what does that say to you? Does that say that they came up with a near approximation or that they took it from an original sample?
By the way, if you're new to the show, Philip has a degree in molecular biology, right? So that's
no,
not
I don't have a degree. I studied molecular biology.
Studied molecular biology. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. He's not a scientist, but he plays one in television. So yeah, what do you think? A prototype of this? Like, what does that mean then?
It is not a term that I'm familiar with. A prototype pathogen. So it could be.
They admit
basically the way I'm reading it is that they created something that works like the pathogen they're working on. But I don't know. I would have to look up that specific term. I'm not familiar with that term or what that would mean.
Okay, so there's two possibilities. They had a sample that they took from India that's uncomfortable, or that they created a
More
synthetic.
likely scenario is B.
Or that they created a synthetic of it.
Yeah.
Either way, are you comfortable with it on U.S. shores, right? This is something that the public should know about. Now, why is this being greenlit without us knowing about this thing? This release says that the NIH did this as part of its pandemic preparedness plan developed in early 2022 in response to COVID. This is the first clinical trial using prototype pathogen approach since the plan was put in place. So we are to deduce from this there will be more. They are going to come up with more synthetic viruses and then try and make a vaccine about it. We should know this, right? Maybe we want it, maybe we don't. But we should be eyes wide open here. And they will be messing around with more prototype pathogens for possible pandemics in the future. So again, that's great. Are there no other biolabs in and around Asia that might want to work on Nipah virus?
What about the 46 biolabs in Ukraine that Hunter Biden was involved with?
Okay,
and
setting
US
those aside, right? And I know we don't have a lot of a high trust factor of biolabs in Asia at this moment, but you might think that there's some there capable of coming up with a treatment to Nipah virus. Does it have to be transported across the world? Is that safe? These are questions we absolutely should be asking.
One question we asked is, what is a prototype pathogen? Just representatives from the viral families within a pandemic potential, according to the National Institutes of Health, the characterization of which is used to develop the medical countermeasure solutions, vaccines, monoclonal antibodies. So they are representatives from the viral family. And
see, that's not clear though, right? We still could have those two possibilities. Either it's synthetically created to represent what they know of the structure of this virus, or it's a piece of it that's been manipulated. We just don't know. So
they don't do gain of function research. They don't do any of that stuff.
Of course not.
That's all conspiracy theory. Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m.
Just in closing for the American viewers, Nipah virus experiments in Maryland, USA. Live Nipah virus work has been done in Maryland, mainly because Maryland has BSL-4 facilities designed for high-consequence pathogens. NIAID Integrated Research Facility, Frederick, Maryland, Fort Detrick. NIAID's IRF Frederick is a maximum containment BSL-4/ABSL-4 research facility used to study dangerous pathogens and develop medical countermeasures. Multiple peer-reviewed Nipah studies explicitly state that all work with variable Nipah virus was performed at the IRF BSL-4 facility in Frederick, Maryland. NIH project reporting also describes ARF Frederick supporting evaluation of Nipah vaccine work. That's from Integrated Research Facility at Fort Detrick. USA MRIID/Fort Detrick Research Ecosystem, Maryland. The USA MRIID, also at Fort Detrick, publishes work comparing NIV Malaysia versus Bangladesh strains in animal models, which is part of the biodefense style medical research under heavy regulation. What kinds of experiments these are? The normal kind, not movie plot stuff. Typical Nipah research in these facilities includes pathogenesis, how the disease develops in the body, transmission, route studies, aerosol versus other exposures in animal models, vaccine and therapeutic testing, and diagnostic and imaging in high containment settings. That's how far I can go with this virus at the moment, but definitely do not farm panic, because that's how they start to sell their vaccines. Just keep an eye on what's going on around you. I think they'll keep this contained. Viewers, I'm out.